So my dad was a tail gunner on a B-17 in World War II. He enlisted the day he turned 18, and he ended up being assigned to an air base outside of London, and they would go on their bombing runs into Germany and then turn around and come back home. And somewhere around their 10th mission, they had just dropped their bombs. They'd made that turn to fly back to England, and they were hit by anti-aircraft fire, and the plane exploded and blew up. My dad was falling and had been knocked out and miraculously came to in just enough time to pull the parachute. Thank you, Jesus, for that. And he and only one other crewman were the only men that survived, and they were captured by a farmer, and they were put into a German prison camp. So this was late in the war, and about 7 months into their captivity, the prisoners woke up one morning, and the prison camp was empty. The Germans were gone. The gates were wide open. So what do you think happened? Did the prisoners all run out? Woo! Freedom! No. They stayed in the prison camp because they didn't know what was going on. They were free, and yet they stayed in their prison. And I think most likely they stayed because of the fact that they didn't know what to think, and they were afraid that if they stepped out, they'd be shot for trying to escape. So even though their captors were gone, gates were open, they were free to go, they stayed in their prison. And a few days later, the Russian army came through and liberated them, and they all got to go home. My dad came home. Do you see where I'm going with this? Friends, before Christ, each one of us is in a prison of sin and self, locked away because of the death and resurrection of Jesus, because he took our place. We have been set free. How do we respond? Are we willing to step out of ourselves into the freedom that Christ has won for us? He bids us come with an invitation open to all. And he promises that if we respond to his invitation, he will never turn us down